Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Squadron Leader Robin Kidd. We warmly welcome the family of Private Vincent Henry Walsh, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL and Surfacers Club Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching this ceremony broadcast around Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors as well as family members. Please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If able, you may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Vincent Walsh, who died fighting in France in the First World War. Vincent Henry Walsh was born in 1887 to Michael and Mary Walsh of South Grafton on the Clarence River in northern New South Wales. He attended the local convent school and worked as a labourer in the years before the First World War. In June 1916, Walsh travelled to nearby Lismore and enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force. After a period of training at Bell's Paddock Camp at Enoggera near Brisbane, he embarked for the training camps of England with a reinforcement group of the 41st Battalion. As part of the 3rd Division, the 41st Battalion spent several months training on the Salisbury Plains in Wiltshire in England. The battalion was made up of some of the most highly trained troops of the Australian Imperial Force. Walsh embarked for France in April 1917 and met the battalion in the relatively quiet Upline sector, several kilometres north of the town of Armentières. This area, known to the troops as the nursery, was unsuited for major offensive action. So the 3rd Division spent most of the time in the area raiding, patrolling and acclimatising to the conditions on the Western Front. Around this time, Walsh would have learned about the death of his younger brother, William, who had died of pneumonia while serving in the 9th Battalion. On the 7th of June 1917, the 3rd Division formed part of the Australian assault on the German position at nearby Messines. The 41st Battalion played a supporting role in consolidating ground gained from the German Army in a highly successful operation carried out by the British Army. Immediately after Messines, Walsh was temporarily loaned to the 11th Machine Gun Company, which played a critical role in providing fire support for the 3rd Division Infantry, as well as laying down harassing and interdiction fire behind German lines with the unit's battery of Vickers heavy machine guns. Whilst the Australians had taken and held a significant portion of German territory at Messines, the Germans routinely shelled their positions with high explosives and shrapnel. On the 30th of June 1917, Vincent was seriously wounded in the legs by shrapnel shell. He was evacuated to the 2nd Australian Casualty Clearance Station at Trois near Sternvik, just over the border in France. But he succumbed to his wounds the following day and was buried at the nearby Trois cemetery. He was 30 years old. Vincent Walsh's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among more than 60,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. He is just one of the many stories of courage and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Vincent Walsh, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age will not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the lows scrubber Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. We'd like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial. Wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.